It promised plenty round 6 and delivered in a big, big way. Jonathan Brown and Nathan Buckley are locked and loaded. I've lost Brownie for about 2 days. I don't know what he's got coming up, but he's been locked away, squirreling away.
Secret squirrel.
And he's got his serious game face on too, I have to say, Bucks. In his nice Pooh Brown shirt, and he's ready to roll.
What's it called? It's
Baby Pooh Brown.
It's not Pooh Brown.
No,
Come on. I was nipply last week, now I'm Pooh Brown tonight.
Hey,
come on.
You're looking good.
Generally a bit of chit-chat before the show, but you're right, he's got that...
Haven't seen him.
He's got the steely
Brad Scott game face on, and he's going to fire up. So, without further ado, he said, give me the new ball, I want to come off the long run. So the biggest question out of a magnificent round of football is all yours.
Is our game turning into Gaelic football, Gary? Now, that's not a knock on Gaelic football.
Wouldn't want to be. It's a great game.
Are we heading in that direction?
Why do you say that?
Is our game going to be there in the next 10 to 15 years?
Why do you say that?
Toby Greene. Roll the tape. Roll the tape. Toby Greene, last quarter, halfway through against Carlton. In this situation, he's been cited for this, sent to the tribunal. We'll get a week's sanction if he doesn't get overturned to the tribunal. Now, sure, I understand where our game's at. The point where we're trying to protect our players, concussion, all these sorts of things. But we play a contact sport and we are asking so much of our players already to make the correct decision when they commit to a contest. In his case, probably 15, 20 metres away. It's a highlight of our game, a great part of our game. He has to make the correct decision then. Middle of the last quarter, under fatigue, and if he mucks it up by a millimetre or a millisecond...
You're talking about arguably the best player in the competition who makes snap-second decisions all the time.
Right. We wipe him out. We wipe him out. And I'll show you... I'll show you this still, guys. So at this point on, he is still committed to taking a mark.
Is he?
So he's just about to leave. His eyes...
Where's his left arm?
Look at his eyes. So just before that, he's gone to take the chest mark. He has come in at the very last minute. He has realised, but he'd already left the ground. He had already left the ground when he's got to change his mind and try and brace himself, which is a natural human reaction. So I'm just concerned where we are going with the players. We are asking so much, and I understand what the AFL are doing, and the people in charge of our game, Andrew Dillon, Laura Kane, Stephen Mead, the most influential in terms of administering our rules, they come from a legal background. So I understand they're going to put the rules through a rigorous filter, gas. But I think we just need to be careful. And I think these players need to be given some leniency considering the pace of the game and how early they need to make the decision. So there's some leeway if you have situations like this. Now, Boyd got up. Now, it doesn't matter whether he got up or not. I'm just purely looking at the incident itself because it's hard for Toby Greene. It's hard for other players when they go to leave the ground.
Do you feel like you're just howling at the moon, though? Because I think we spoke about this in regards to tackling over the last 18 months. We've looked at it. Last week it was the ground level contests of Crouch, Butters, and I think that the die's been cast. I mean, I feel like it's been so difficult to compete. You know, the way the rules are written and the trouble you can get into, it's made it so difficult for players approaching contests. But I don't see how your protests or any of our protests are going to take away from the overarching purpose, which is to try and minimise head contact in the game.
Well, we're heading towards Gaelic football. That's where our game has changed so much since the Braden changing a lot, even since the Braden Maynard incident with Angus Brayshaw, and I don't disagree with that. But we're asking so much of the players. So we're getting to the point now. You watched the Formula One was on yesterday, guys. They've made it so safe. The only way they can make it any safer is they said to Max Verstappen, you've got to slow down. You can only drive a maximum 150 k's an hour. We're at that point. We are at that point.
Right.
We just keep going on this path.
I think you're being a little bit dramatic, if I could say so, from this side of the couch.
OK, what do you...
Do you think he's got any chance of getting off?
I think there's some sympathy for him out there in the football.
No, I've got some sympathy for him. Yeah. But in the end, if he gets a week, I'm not that upset.
I think there's a difference in the Peter Wright one, which we agreed he was going to get suspended.
You're suggesting he was at all times going for the mark?
Until he wasn't, right at the end. Now, he's already leaving the ground.
Yeah.
OK, so...
I don't...
So you can't... What is the natural human reaction, guys? Fight or flight, you're going to brace
don't jump
when
off
you
the
realise...
Well,
don't jump... OK, beautiful. Don't jump off the ground. Stop competing for the ball.
Don't jump off the... Yeah, let me finish. Don't jump off the ground unless you are legitimately going to contest the mark. And in the end, I know it's split second and I have some sympathy for him as well, right? In the end, I don't think at the end of the day he was trying to take this mark. He just covered up. He covered up. In my mind, he covered up. Otherwise, he would have had hands out or would have had his arms out like this, and the contact would have been like that. In the end, he covered up, and you can say he protected himself, and I get it.
Well, the one freeze frame before it, his arms were there, ready to take a mark. As his foot is just launching from the ground. So, the end of the day, he's got to be able. We want our players to compete, but they have to make the decision a long way away.
They do.
And all of a sudden, we've got kamikaze players that are putting their body on the line, and good on them for that.
Yeah.
But they don't have to worry about protecting themselves or protecting the opposition. It is always the player that's running front on and can see everyone.
Yeah.
So,
well, I anticipate. I've got a lot of faith.
Look at that. His arms are still ready. And look where's his eyes. His eyes are up at the ball.
I think all that's true, right up until the end.
I'm with Gaz on this. I think he's already bringing his arms in to either protect himself or to make contact, to brace. And he's still 3 or 4 steps away from that. I think the only way he gets off is they can argue low impact and not medium impact. Because in the end, Jordan Boyd, as courageous as he was, he bounces up. There's minimal head contact as far as I'm concerned. So we've got to work out whether we think that minimal head contact is acceptable, because I don't think that was a concussive.
No, that's
impact.
true. But
he got up.
Yeah, no,
well, not even hard enough to cause anyone a concussion at that point.
In this environment, they're going to break a few eggs to make the omelette, and it's harsh on Toby. I agree with you. And look, we don't do tribunal all that often here, and when we do, sometimes maybe 2 or 3 times a year you'll go to war on it. I wouldn't go to war on it if he gets off tomorrow. Like, that's one of those ones. It lives in the grey space, but I would have thought that he had a different alternative.